Welcome to another episode of Altitude Advantage. I'm your host and team reporter, Elisa Hernandez. Across the table, we have our lead writer on DenverBroncos.com, Aric DiLalla, and our digital media contributor, Susanna Ware. It is a holiday week, guys. So first of all, happy holidays to Broncos country and to both of you. I wanted to be festive today, so I'm wearing my Broncos Christmas sweater.
Where'd you get that?
It was a present, actually. Early Christmas present.
To yourself? Is that possible?
I mean, I actually got it a couple of years ago. Someone gave it to me for Christmas. And then...
From the team store?
I don't know where they got it from.
Oh, does it have the little thumb holes?
You know, it didn't. It actually had a hole, and then my mom sewed it.
Oh,
So,
that's nice.
I know. So
It's very festive. I like that. With some reindeer. What else is on there?
Yeah, a little, Christmas tree, a little snowflake, positive vibes. Look, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll get the full-fledged experience of what this Christmas sweater looks like.
I am also wearing a holiday sweater. It is snow-colored because there's snow at Christmas.
There is.
Suze?
I'm wearing reddish.
Red?
Maroon? Purple? What color is
Purple,
this?
yeah.
Purple?
It's not purple.
Purple? Like sugar plums.
It's like maroon.
Sugar plums are part of Christmas. That's like purple. That's
Sure.
not maroon.
I feel like it might be. I don't know.
It's purple.
You ever had a sugar plum?
No. Have you?
I don't think so.
Have you ever had sugar plum?
No.
Kind of wild that there's a whole ferry just dedicated to sugar plums, right?
Well, that's what I was wondering, because I'm like, I've never actually had a sugar plum. I don't actually know what a sugar plum is.
Good question. Maybe people should weigh in on YouTube in the comments.
Make sure you guys drop your comments as we're going to get ready for another episode as we preview this week's game. I'm down thinking about sugar plums, so now I'm all discombobulated. I'm all discombobulated.
We got to talk about last week, too. I know we don't want to, but you got to.
We do, because that was a very tough loss on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers. It started off very promising, and then obviously a tale of two halves, as you had mentioned in your incident analysis after the game.
Thanks for watching.
No problem.
Suze, what was the best thing I said in the incident analysis?
I declined to respond.
Oh, okay. Thank you for not watching.
Well, I'm sure all of Broncos country watched, because it was a tough game to kind of...
The numbers were low. They were low.
They were low on you?
Yeah.
Sucks.
It's okay. I'm just out there by myself. I'm getting heckled. I was standing on the sideline after I've just watched...
It's not very Christmassy spirit
what
of
had
LA.
happened, and then they're just screaming obscenities at me.
I'm sorry.
It's not very nice.
It's not very nice. I mean, it's very LA, but it's not very nice.
I worked through it like a pro.
Like a champ.
And then some people were screaming my name. It was nice to see all of you. I didn't catch any of their names, but it's nice to see them. That's a lot of orange there.
Yeah, definitely. Broncos country travels very well. That was obviously one of the big highlights, and a lot of the players highlighted that going into it. Head coach Sean Payton had mentioned how great Broncos country travels, and they're going to need to travel once again, this time in Cincinnati. But as you mentioned, we do need to talk about the game on Thursday, a couple days ago. And you've had a couple, days to digest this game. So when you look back...
You're going to say like drinks or something. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, your mind's at.
True. Not today, to be clear.
Not today. But as you had time to digest this game... And you look back at it, obviously, I know you can always take positives and things like that, but what was the biggest takeaway you had from this game?
Yeah, I was listening to somebody else's podcast, actually, and they said something that I know. I do it occasionally. When I'm not just listening back to the sound of my own voice, which is what I like most. I'm just kidding. Kind of.
He's not. He's not.
I thought one of the... In the moment when you're so close to it, you're like, oh, this is a missed opportunity. Broncos are up 21-10. They're up 24-13. They've got an 11-point third-quarter lead. They're so close to the postseason. In my post-game article, what'd you think about that?
Suze?
It was excellent.
Suze did read that one.
I did. Yeah.
We tag team it.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of
You
content.
watched the videos?
It's 1-1.
Exactly. I watched the videos.
1-1.
She reads articles.
Right, that's tough. I'm going to try to get viewership and readership up around here. It's going to be my goal that's my Christmas wish for my friends to read and watch my stuff, but that's fine.
Go to DenverBroncos.com for the latest.
Anyway, kind of in the moment, you're like, oh, this is disappointing. The guys in the locker room frustrated. The point that I heard from this national podcast, it was Heed the Call for those who have listened to it. They do a nice job. was that for a young team, like maybe in some ways this is a moment they had to go through of you've got this lead, you've got the postseason right in front of you. I think you could tell, nobody said this in the locker room, but I think they knew, they did say they let one get away, but I think they knew like how close they were to where they wanted to go. And on the podcast, they were suggesting that maybe this is a moment the Broncos needed where you've got to have this tough moment before you can close it out to learn from it. You see it sometimes in like baseball or hockey, right? Or basketball, even in a series where the first closeout opportunity, teams sometimes they don't close it out, especially with a young team. And so maybe this game against the Chargers, and there were many like technical things we could talk about in terms of the dropped coverages on defense, the defensive penalties that have become an issue that the Broncos need to get fixed, the running game that was really effective in the first half and was not nearly as effective in the second half. You could talk about all those things from a technical standpoint, but I think just big picture, it almost felt like everyone knew that this was about to happen and then they couldn't quite close it out. And maybe it's a lesson that I don't know if it's this week in Cincinnati. I don't know if it's next week against Kansas City. I don't know if it's a playoff game on the road, in Buffalo or Baltimore or Pittsburgh or wherever the heck the Broncos end up going if they do make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is something where it's like, okay, hey, we're ahead now in Buffalo. We learned a lesson from that Chargers game. It just felt like, before the season, we've referenced this again and again and again, Greg Penner talked about, hey, there's going to be ups and downs with a rookie quarterback. And I think because the team got to 9-5, like there haven't been as many of those quote unquote downs. Yeah. Like there's certainly one.
Or they were early on.
Yeah, they were early on. And then it happened in Baltimore and Kansas City. And then, like had the Broncos not come back against the Colts, that certainly would have qualified, but they find a way to respond there. This, to me, feels like even though you're still one game away from a playoff berth, it feels like one of those down moments that you can just kind of expect with a young team that and it doesn't mean you don't want them to win, doesn't mean they shouldn't have probably closed out the game, but it's just one of those moments that I think you've got to use as fuel and as a learning experience and hope that down the road, you see it sometimes like even a team in the NFL, you lose in the playoffs. Like last year, the Lions had a lead in the NFC Championship game. They lose that game. And it was like almost a moment people thought they had to go through to get to where they are now, and we'll see how the playoffs unfold. But if they do make a run, I think they would point to that game. And so maybe, even though it's not a postseason game, the Broncos can use this game against the Chargers as like a, hey, we needed that to be up and lose this one, to know what it's going to take in a playoff type atmosphere against a playoff type team
on the road
when we get to January.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that there were some positive. We did see a lot of firsts. Audric Esme getting his first touchdown of his career, and a few other things on the defensive side. Chris Abrams-Drain getting his first interception. So you did see some bright spots there, but then you also saw some things you weren't ready for. Gus Edwards on the Chargers. We thought with Dobbins, being out, that the running game was going to be different, and then Gus Edwards comes in and has 2 touchdowns on the day. And it's something that I think this team, like you said, like getting ready for that unexpected moment. And with the postseason being so close, to your point, you're so close to it sometimes that you forget to look at the bigger picture, even if it's just for a moment. And I think with this game, it was one of like those growing pains that we continue to talk about. And I think you make a really good point saying like, because they happened so early on for this team and for Bo and things like that, like you've almost been spoiled a little bit of the fact that, yes, he is a rookie, but then you kind of have these moments where you remember, like, no, it's part of the growing process. This is the second time in his career he's ever faced the Chargers and Justin Herbert. So that's one of the things that I think is important to highlight. Suze, was there anything that you saw in this game that you're taking away or at least kind of thinking about as they go into this week against Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, we heard from a lot of the players, like, they still have struggled to put together, like, a full 4-quarter game, they feel like. Like, past couple games started out slow, really finished off the game strong. And, Sean Payton said after the game, he was like, this was uncharacteristic of us where we didn't finish the game strong. And the past couple games, we've seen us really close things out and play our best football in the second half. And this game was the opposite. So I think that's a learning experience too, of just like, they're still looking for that. Like, I mean, we've seen a few games, maybe Tampa Bay was one of them where, they really put together like a full 4-quarter effort. But I think that's still been a point of emphasis, even in some of these close games that they have won, where they've said, there's still things we need to do to make sure we're putting in the full effort the whole time. So I think that will be like a good learning experience, kind of looking ahead the last couple games and hopefully into the postseason.
That's why they're called growing pains, right? Because it hurts when you have to learn these things, especially the hard way.
Yeah, and listen, there's no panic, right? Like, there was frustration in the locker room for sure. Guys were upset about the way things turned out. I would say, especially on Twitter, fans are a little bit panicked now about what the next 2 weeks look like, because you see Cincinnati win, and nothing really happened yesterday that helps the Broncos. Yeah. The Colts won, the Bengals won, the Dolphins won, the Bills won, which would have clinched the 1 seed for Kansas City if they'd gotten upset. I will say a game to keep your eye on is this Wednesday. The Chiefs go to Pittsburgh. If the Chiefs win that game, they'll clinch the 1 seed, which could have a significant impact on how they approach the Week 18 game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Denver would like to go to Cincinnati and win and just take care of it.
Right.
But good to look
at the other scenarios.
Part of the benefit of what you've been able to do by getting to 9-5, by beating the Colts, is that you give yourself some wiggle room of, like, you don't have to win all 3 of these final games. And granted, if you win the last 2 and a couple things happen, you could still move up to the 6 or the 5 seed. The chances are way lower now than they were before this Chargers game, but still possible. But I think I don't know that it's time to panic by any means. Certainly, the Broncos are in a much better situation than a team like the Bengals that need to win their last 2, need to have the Broncos lose their last 2, need Miami to lose, need the Colts to lose.
Their fate is in a lot more other teams than the Broncos. They still control their own destiny to a certain extent.
Exactly. Yeah, the Broncos, all they have to do is win one of their last 2. And while everyone else is kind of worried externally about, like, can Denver go and beat Cincinnati, I think there's a chance that you, and what I think you need to see, and we'll talk more about the specifics of the matchup on Thursday, but you want to see a team that takes that frustration that was in the locker room and uses it when they get on the field in Cincinnati. And instead of worrying about, hey, are we now now we have to win one of the last 2 instead of one of the last 3 and getting a little concerned, just harness the energy and the frustration and take it out on Cincinnati. I think that's one of the things the Chargers did well, is that they really needed that game because of what had happened.
They're fighting for their season, pretty much,
because of what had happened against Tampa the week before. And so they dug deep and found a way to win that football game. And the Broncos need to do the same against the Bengals this week. One other thing, kind of playoff related, I've seen some tweets that, like, oh, if the Broncos don't win one of their last 3 games and they go 9-8, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. Like, if they can't beat one of these teams, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. Well, on what planet is that true? Like, what, the Bengals would, quote unquote, deserve to make the playoffs because they won and also had 2 other teams lose, or the Colts would deserve to make the playoffs because they win a 3-way tie against the Broncos and Dolphins? Like, there's no deserve. You're either in or you're out. And just because the Broncos
doesn't matter how you get in.
They got to 9-5. Like, if they end up 9-8, that would not be obviously great from a morale standpoint, but you still earn the playoff spot.
Right.
It's not like if you were
I think even from a morale perspective, I think they're just no one expected us to be here. So once we get in, we will really show you what we can do. I think that constant need to, this team really sticks together, and by doing that, they prove a lot of their doubters wrong. And I think that's also a good boost for them. We're just like, look, like, we just got to get in, because we've seen a lot of teams go on runs that, quote unquote, don't belong in certain playoff scenarios, but they get in and then they go pretty deep.
I just don't get why, like, a team that was 9-5 doesn't deserve it any more than, like, a team that was 6-8 and wins their last. Yeah, they are mad, and they're like, oh, and I get it. Like, when you watch a team have a tough performance, it's like, oh, we're never going to see this team win again. Like, fans, that's part of the fandom experience, that you go back and forth. But, like, if you watch the Broncos in the first half against the Chargers, you're probably thinking this team can go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they played a bad half, a half that wasn't up to their standards offensively or defensively. And certainly Cincinnati is going to be a challenge, and we'll talk more about them. But there's no reason why they can't take this frustration, go to Cincinnati, and take all the other scenarios out of play and just earn a win. And then you start working your way up and saying, okay, well, now can we get the 6 or can we get the 5? And again, not likely, but certainly possible. So, I just, there's still the Broncos, despite the loss of the Chargers, which was one loss, they're still in much better shape than any of these other teams that are, the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Bengals. Broncos are in better shape than any of them because they've got a 2-game lead and you've got to go finish it out. But we also, knock on wood here, the Broncos haven't lost 3 in a row all season. So the odds that they're not going to find a way to get this done, I just think, I feel like it's really slim. And certainly if Kansas City wins this week and they're not playing guys in week 18, it's another opportunity that helps. But I know everyone would feel better. And the way you want to do it is to go get a win. So finding a way to use that frustration and go take it out on Cincinnati would feel better.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at what this team did after those losses to Baltimore and Kansas City, they won 3 games in a row. They beat Atlanta. They beat Cleveland. They beat the Raiders. And then they went ahead and beat the Colts. So they went on a 4-game win streak after those 2 big losses. So to me, that shows me the way that they're able to respond and, like you said, like take out that frustration. And that was one of the things that did worry me about this Thursday night game was the fact that not only did the Chargers lose to the Bucs, but like they had a similar situation where it was close in the first half and the second half was just all Bucs, right? And that's at home. And the Chargers, for them, and they're like, we can't have a repeat performance like that either. And for the Broncos, they were trying to get that to happen. And uncharacteristically, they did not have a strong second half, which obviously led to the loss. But again, as you kind of look at the way that this game really got going, I was really happy to see Audric Estime not only get his first touchdown, but also just see the kind of the run game that the Broncos were able to kind of put together and kind of go in the right direction, especially that was really a big focal point over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, Sean Payton said he expects to see more of Audric Estime. You mentioned Blake Watson had some nice carries. Marvin Mims got involved. Obviously, he had a big catch and run. And it truly, even though like we're talking now as if the second half was a disaster, it's like it's 3 or 4 plays here or there, right?
And
like
a couple calls that could have gone either way.
It's the late hit on Justin Strnad that he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here because he slides at the last second. It's the face mask or a horse collar on Jonathan Cooper as he's getting his face mask torn off by Justin Herbert. It's the deep pass to Marvin Mims that could have been pass interference, also could have been probably thrown a little bit better. And so it's not like, it's a 3rd and 10 where Justin Herbert gets outside the pocket and gets 16 yards. Mm-hmm. So this wasn't a thrashing, so to speak. Like the Chargers still had to earn it. And if you even reverse 1 or 2 of those plays, if you reverse the Mims play, for example, the Broncos either score on that play or if he does get tackled again, you got the ball inside the 15, 20-yard line, you could go ahead and then maybe you win the football game. Yeah. If that penalty's not called on Strnad, you're still up 8, and then maybe you find a way to close out the game. So I don't think there's like this perception maybe that the defense is just cooked. And like nothing we've seen all year suggests that. They haven't had back-to-back performances where they've struggled all year. Sean Payton said hopefully they're going to get Riley Moss back this week. He said that hopefully he'll be able to return, which I would obviously allow Denver to play more man-to-man. They struggled a little bit in zone last week against the Chargers. But I just think, one, you've got to believe that this is a well-coached football team because they've shown you they're a well-coached football team. And for the most part, teams like that respond. They don't beat themselves. And the Broncos, I think, felt like they beat themselves to some degree against the Chargers. But that was uncharacteristic. And so if they just go back to playing the way that we've seen them play, they should be, I think, in good shape to listen. This is going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game, and because the Bengals are a good football team. Yep. This is not playing a 2-14 team by any stretch. But the Broncos, I think, have shown they're good enough to beat a team like this. And also, since he's struggled against, I don't think they've beaten a team with a winning record this year. So they've had kind of the same struggles that there's this narrative about the Broncos that they have 2 wins against winning football teams. Like that's the same thing the Bengals are dealing with right now. But, yeah, I think as you look back at this game, there are some positives to take from it. Certainly, if you're the offense, you got to find a way to maintain, even if you're not scoring touchdowns, like maintain those drives, keep your defense off the field, find a way to put more scores together, even if they're field goals. And defensively, it truly was just like a play here or a play there. Herbert had a great game. I think you should expect Burrow, just the way he's playing right now, to have another great game. But you've just got to find a way to make one more play than they do. And it's not supposed to be easy to make the playoffs. It's not supposed to be this just like coronation. You've got to go out there and earn it, and hopefully they do this weekend.
Yeah, the Bengals are coming off of a win against the Browns, and they've scored, I believe, 24 or more points in the last 7 games, including this past week. So that gives promise, too, because although they're able to sustain those points, the Broncos have also been able to put points up on the board as well. And so, yes, it is a Joe Burrow matchup, and it is, you have Jamar Chase, you have a pretty good defense that you're going to face. But I feel like it's one of those games where, like you said, like if you go back to, not even go back, because that's insinuating that they're far from that. If you just kind of refocus and resettle into what you're doing, I think this defense is going to have a really good game because they don't like to lose. Like, I think that's what people on Twitter and the outside world fare. Like, they hate to lose. They want to go out and put on a good performance, and they know what's at stake. They know that this season, yes, the winning season, all these accolades and the things that happen in season are great, but they know that the ultimate goal now is to make it to the playoffs. And once they're in, what they can potentially do there in terms of seeding and who they play and things like that. But as you kind of look at, like you said, the bright spots, I do want to highlight specifically Marvin Mims because I feel like he's, over the last couple of weeks in particular, he's really been that spark on the offense that has really kind of brought this team into unlocked a different side of this team's game.
Yeah, he can do a lot of different things. He's got the speed, he's got the versatility, and the Broncos need that from he's a different type of player than Courtland Sutton, for example. Yeah. And so you need a different type of guy on your offense. And I don't think Sean Payton has referred to him as a kind of this joker player that he talks about yet, but he's used him in some of those same ways, whether it's in the backfield or the screen game or the deep passing game. And so, yeah, Marvin's been, and then the punt return game, of course, too. He's been a difference maker. So hopefully Marvin continues that. They're going to need big plays from their offense. Again, you're right. Against Cincinnati, it feels like maybe you trade punch for punch, and whoever can make one of those big plays could end up winning the football game. And so you need Marvin Mims to keep the hot streak going.
Yeah, looking at some of the numbers right now, Marvin Mims Jr. this season, through week 16, first in punt return yards with 408, first in 20-yard returns with 7, first with punt returns average with a minimum of 10 returns, which is 15.7 yards, and he has the 5th longest punt return this season with 61 yards. I mean, have a season, Marvin, especially given how his season started. When I talked to him earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, I think before the Raiders game, I asked him how has it been adjusting to kind of like this new role that you're in, and he laughed and he said, it's brand new for me, but I realize that any way that I can help this team, whether it's on punt return, things like that, I feel like by doing my job, it'll lead to me finding myself in different spots in this offense. And I feel like you really saw that, and kind of like the deep ball that Bo has, like really connecting with him and figuring those out. And I think when you have a guy like that, that's just kind of waited his turn and just done what he's told, I think he's starting to fit nicely in with the way that this culture and this team is really building around it. Because there are no quote unquote divas on this team. Like, everyone
just Suze.
Everyone wants to win. She's the star of this team, if we're being honest, right, Suze?
A diva is normally the star. So that attracts.
Diva's like, when I think of diva,
I think of like drama.
Yeah, I think of like drama, like a drama queen.
Yeah, but normally that's the star, especially a receiver. When you think of T.O., T.O. was a diva.
Yeah, but I don't know.
So are you saying I'm dramatic or the star? Or both?
Well, the first one was a joke, and then I think Elisa followed up with a compliment.
Yeah, it's that you're a star.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But Marvin Mims has also been a pretty big bright spot. Suze, what have you seen just from Marvin Mims, or just like the young guys on this team, the younger guys on this team that have really kind of just played their role and then found their spot in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've heard from guys all season, and like you were saying, like Mims has just kind of embraced whatever his role is going to look like. And I mean, especially against the Colts, like Sean Payton talked afterward, he said like some of the plays that he made, especially in the punt return game, like those were game-changing plays. And I think we've seen that from him on several occasions. And I mean, we've seen a lot of like big game-changing defensive plays. And I think for the special teams plays and the offensive plays that have really been game changing in the past couple weeks, we've really seen him kind of be involved with those. So, you know, and then just the younger guys, like you said, a lot of them just embracing like whatever role they're given. Estime has said it like every time. He's like, I'm here just to do what I'm told to do. Like I'm here to do my job. And so, you know, he even talked after the game about like getting his first touchdown. He's like, I'm here when my number's called, but you know, we didn't get the win. And so that's what hurts a little bit, but you know, still he's like ready to embrace whatever role he's given. And I think, like you said, no divas. Everybody's embracing whenever their name's called, they're ready to step up. So
is Suze a star and are you the diva, Aric?
I did not ever say that I wasn't a diva.
That's a very diva answer. You know that, right?
Aric has no further comment on the matter.
Suze's face. Again,
Suze didn't deny that she was a diva either, to be clear.
Well, because if you're saying I'm the star, I will accept that. But if you're saying I'm dramatic, then I would have some pushback on that. So it really depends on which context you mean.
I just want us to win. That's what I'm here for.
I think we can all agree on that. While you're showing off your nails there,
yeah,
they're very Christmassy,
they're
holiday-y.
very Christmassy. Yeah,
Inclusive.
they're gingerbread-esque.
Gingerbread-esque?
Yeah, it's a gingerbread house on my nails.
Ooh.
Gingerbread. Well, the camera's really far. There's no zooming option, but
should work on that. I know that we wanted to discuss a little fun thing to end the show.
This is true. We wanted to give out some, well, I guess imaginary Christmas presents.
They're imaginary. It's like a fun little bit here of like, what would you give this player for the holidays?
This is true. I was going to make a pun about like being on Santa's good list, but I didn't want to go there. But okay, we're going to play Santa and figure out what we're going to give some of these players. So I'm going to toss it out to you then, Suze. I'm going to come to you. So let's see, Aric, what would you get Cortland Sutton for Christmas?
Ooh. See, this is going to be like, it's more of like a big picture gift like that. It doesn't have to be like I'm giving Cortland Sutton like a hockey stick, you know?
Yes. What would you give him big picture wise for all the good he's done this season?
I am going to give Cortland Sutton a nice wool hat and gloves because
is there a mug that comes with this?
No mug. Because it's going to be cold wherever the Broncos go play their postseason game.
Oh.
And Cortland's going to need something to wear on that plane to go to Pittsburgh or Buffalo or Baltimore or wherever the Broncos go. Mm-hmm. If they somehow go to Houston, you don't probably need the hat and gloves. But, you know, Cortland Sutton is one of the longest tenured. Garrett Bowles you didn't really ask about Garrett Bowles, but Garrett Bowles was going to get the same thing because they're the two longest tenured players on the team. And so they're going to lead the Broncos to the postseason. It'll be a nice little gift for them that after their 8th and 7th seasons, respectively, they're going to make their first playoff trip. I believe that the Broncos are going to find a way to get this done, and they got to be ready to go. So they're going to have some mittens and a hat.
So everyone else can just be cold?
All right, Suze. It's kind of like a...
We haven't gotten into their gifts yet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Suze. Going to the defensive side. I'm going to throw you
I feel like mine was bad.
I'm going to throw you an easy one. What would you get Nick Bonito for Christmas for all the good he's done this season?
Well, now I feel like the expectations are really high since you said I'm going to throw you an easy one.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like Nick, you can get him all kind of things.
What would you get him?
Nope.
I appreciate the assist on that. The nope.
What would I get him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll get him a little birdhouse because he's been taking it to the house.
Oh,
just hanging out, you know?
Nice job.
That's good.
Just saying.
That's really nice.
Thanks.
See?
I think he'd like that.
See, this is why I told you to answer.
All right, you gotta toss one to Suze then. I took her answer.
I'm terrible at giving gifts, so.
All right,
That is
Suze,
not true.
What would you give Mitchell Fraboni? I'm just kidding.
She's
Suze.
not bad at giving gifts. For Thanksgiving, even though Thanksgiving is not a gift-giving holiday technically,
Fact check true.
she gave me a pumpkin pie. It was very delicious.
She gave me nothing.
Well,
I tried to give both of you the pie, and Aric said, I don't want that.
and I don't share, so I didn't give you any.
That's true.
But you do give good gifts. That was a very thoughtful gift.
Very thoughtful, Suze.
Yes.
I am going to, you want me to toss another one to you?
Well, no, Suze has to give presents too. I can't be. I mean, I'm in the Christmas sweater, but I feel like
you've got the sweater, so you got the Santa thing going.
yeah. But she has a sugar plum thing going. You have the snow. We're very festive in here.
That's true.
So Suze has to give a present.
Well, I'm going to give
All
each of the rookies a little eye mask. I'm in kind of the apparel phase here. Because as a rookie, it's been a long year. You got the bowl game, you got the combine, you got the draft. Go right into the season. It's a longer season than you've ever played. Mm-hmm. We always hear about the rookie wall. I don't think you've seen anybody hit it, but a little sleep mask is going to make sure they're all nice and rested up and they're ready to go down the stretch. It is thoughtful. You can get it with like a little bit of lilac scent or something.
Do they get a mug with that for like some nice?
What is with the mug?
My thought is
It comes
they
with
could
the mittens and
they
the
could have some
scarves.
like nice relaxing tea with the.
Susie,
with
you
the
can give them that.
Okay, sure. I will give them mugs and tea to go with your rest theme.
Lame. Just kidding.
Are you gonna personalize these gloves, these mittens?
Are you
I
gonna
did.
knit them yourself?
I don't know how to knit.
Do you know how to knit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and crochet.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
So I got you. We'll team up for the gift.
Get to knitting. Knit bonito. Thoughts?
That's good.
Thanks.
All right, let's see. I want to go. I'm trying to think of a guy on this team that's very. You know what? You know who wouldn't ask for anything, but he deserves all the Christmas presents? Zach Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you getting?
So,
him?
what are you going to get him?
What am I get Zach Allen? I'm gonna get Zach Allen. That's good. Yeah, I'll get him a blanket because he just be covering up every quarterback that heads his way.
Oh, nice.
You're going with like the very literal interpretation.
I
of
mean,
this.
I'm saying.
I was going to get him
Puns.
some sunglasses because I have to stick with apparel. And also, I think Zach Allen is deserving of his first ever Pro Bowl
We got it.
berth. By the way, final day of Pro Bowl voting today. Votes count as double. Hashtag Pro Bowl vote plus their names
Their
on
full
social.
names, first and last names.
Or their social handle.
You can
Yeah,
just read
or
it out.
hashtag Zach Allen. I have a conspiracy about all this, but that's we're just going to save that. Anyway,
The last day to vote for the Pro Bowl, guys, so make sure you guys go out there and vote.
I think Zach Allen he's way up there on the quarterback pressure list. He's had a
Yeah.
great year. The only reason, like if Zach Allen's name was J.J. Watt, he'd be a lock for the Pro Bowl. He'd be a lock for first team All Pro.
You had mentioned about storylines.
The only reason that I even have any question is because the Pro Bowl is such like a popularity contest, and sometimes you have guys that are deserving that if they don't have the household name status,
Yeah.
they don't make it. But Zach Allen should absolutely make it. If he doesn't make it, I'm going to go insane. And so I'm going to get him some sunglasses.
If you look at Eric's Twitter today and it's just Zach Allen over and over again with hashtag Pro Bowl vote, you know why.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, the Pro Bowl's in Orlando, I think.
Yes.
So Zach Allen got to protect those eyes that see the quarterback. So it's going to
Okay.
be sunny down there.
So have a blanket
Get
for
him
the
some
plane,
sunglasses.
and then you have sunglasses.
Yeah.
All right, so did you go to the store yet? What are you going to get some of these players? You can even pick the player.
I'm not good at giving Christmas gifts.
You are, though.
All right, we'll come back to Suze. Who else we got? Who are we forgetting?
I feel like Jonathan Cooper deserves a gift.
Oh, yeah.
What about
He-
Mims? What are you
he could-
getting Mims?
Jonathan Cooper needs more. Doesn't he wear like eye black that
He does wear eye black.
get
You're
us some
right.
more because he uses so much of it that might need more of it.
That's a nice re-up.
He's
Marvin
fierce.
Mims, I'll get him Lightning McQueen Crocs.
Oh, he
Yeah, I was
probably,
gonna-
he probably
okay,
already has those.
He probably
I'll
does already
contribute
have
one.
that.
I'm gonna get him some track spikes.
Oh.
Work on his speed. Not that he needs to work on his speed. I just mean that I feel like he could be even faster.
Oh, so Marvin Mims slow, according to Suze.
And you wonder why I haven't contributed any
Just kidding.
answers. This is why.
We know that's
No
not what-
matter
we know
what
that's not what
I
you're
say,
saying.
odds are stacked against me.
She's the professional when it comes to track stars and being fast. So
I just
will
feel
take
like
that.
he'd be able to show off the speed even more in the track
That's true.
spikes.
like Lightning McQueen.
Or in the Crocs. If you put him in sport mode,
You could put him in sport mode.
then he'd be ready to go. What about
Yes.
like he reminds me of like the Energizer Bunny. You know, he just like keeps going.
Marvin
That's-
Mims.
Yeah, or
you're-
Jaleel even. Jaleel, maybe Jaleel.
Aw, Jaleel.
Get him a little toy bunny rabbit that's like the Energizer Bunny because that
Audrey
guy's
Gaston.
always here.
That's true. Audrey Gaston, I give him a little bus
Well, that's
for
cute.
his nickname. Yeah, mini bus. You know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. You
PS2?
know, okay. Ooh, I feel like that one's like on PS5. Just to unlock the next levels of
Not a
himself.
sponsor. Xbox.
What would you get? What would you get? PS2.
PS2.
Yeah.
I would do a nice renovation to his home. Like
Whoa.
here's a maybe here's like a nice gift
Suze,
card to
I'm wondering what our presents are going to be for Christmas.
We
because
went from a knit hat and gloves to a home renovation. Seems a little unfair.
I mean,
No.
He's really good.
I'm interested to see what our gifts
just
are.
kidding.
And then you asked me to
Okay,
knit them, so
Home
you're not
Depot.
even contributing anything.
You volunteered to knit them. I didn't ask you. Home Depot gift card. We'll go with that. Because this man has won so many awards. He's going to keep winning awards. He needs like a new shelf to put all his awards on. So yeah, PS2 gets a Home Depot. I don't know if that's a sponsor. I don't think so.
Just say hardware. Get a
PS2
hardware
gets
store.
an unnamed hardware store gift card.
That's solid. That's solid. I think my one wild card gift that I would get would be I'd get a gift for Cody Barton because he's one of those very energetic guys on the defense, and every time you go to talk to him, he's just always hyped up in the best way, and he always has just such positive things to say about his teammates. And he's had some big plays this year as well.
Yeah.
And I think, let's see, Cody, he wears a lot of camo. So I'll get him a full camo suit because you can't see him coming. So
Ooh. Okay.
mic drop on that one. That's my last gift. I'm out of money.
My last one.
Suze, you got to have a last one. Look at the roster. Think about it. Go ahead, Aric.
I'm going to get Bo a nice sports car. Seems like a little much.
I like how the presents just dramatically went up from like ins and past to
Earlier this year, Sean Payton referred to him as Ferris Bueller. He's got a little Ferris Bueller to him. And obviously, if you watch Ferris Bueller, Ferris loves Chandler's father's sports car. So maybe Bo needs one of his own.
Wow.
And you just, after you drive, you just put it in reverse and you drive the miles off.
I wonder how long we need to be friends with you to get sports cars for Christmas.
If you help us win 9 games and get the Broncos to the doorstep of the playoffs, we'll talk.
I mean, I think me being here has done that. But that's me.
That's true. You actually, who's to say who's really responsible? Well, it doesn't sound like you guys want a hat or gloves, so I'm going to have to go stop by the return aisle after this.
Suze, you are the one to get the last gift.
All right.
What do you got?
I'm giving a gift to McGlinchey
Nice.
Hey.
because
It's well deserving.
I feel like he really just knows how to rally the team. He's got a lot of good things to say. So I'm giving him a microphone for a nice mic drop.
Oh, because his name's Mike.
Yeah. That was a good one.
That is a great one, actually.
Come on.
Good
That
job,
was good.
Suze.
Yeah, I was like, you got to give her that one. That one was good.
Thank you.
And
Good segment. Why are you laughing?
that's what we do. We
Good segments, yeah.
We produce good
It's true.
segments here. I mean, yeah. So as we close out the show to continue the Christmas spirits, obviously I have to ask you guys, what is one of the best Christmas presents you've ever received? You can only pick one.
Probably just like a sense of eternal gratitude for everything that we have in this world.
Okay, what's the real answer? Okay, so someone has not been
Why are you
on
laughing?
Santa's good boy list because that's a lie. That is not your best gift ever.
Oh man, this is tricky. This like puts me on the spot here. Because what if there's like a really good gift that I got that I'm not thinking of?
Then
And
who's
then-
gonna know?
Well, anyone who listens to this podcast.
No. Well, they can
What if
call,
my,
they can
what
call
if
it
my
out in the
parents are
comments.
listening?
Call it out in the comments.
That's true. My dog was kind of a Christmas present. He was born around Christmas, so I'll go with that.
Kinda.
That feels like a cop-out
That's
answer.
I would have believed you had not said kinda. If you would have took
That's
that
true.
word out, I would have been like, oh, you got a puppy. Would have been a whole different conversation, but you said kinda.
Yeah.
Void.
An A. Gosh, I don't know.
All right, y'all think about it. One of my favorite ones.
I got a nice cast iron pan a couple years ago. That was nice.
Ooh, wow.
Makes me sound really old.
A little bit.
Yeah. Oh, my cast iron pan. It's a nice
I
one,
got
though.
really nice pans last year too. Good gift.
Pants?
Pans.
Sorry.
I got 2 pans, but they were
Nice.
So
Sorry.
kitchenware is
Suze just has to,
basic.
I get one pan. Suze's like, I got 2 pans. Just one ups me.
She was extra good that year.
Yeah.
Well, my best gift was an electric scooter that my dad got me when I was 7 years old.
Oh.
So the best gift you got was when you were 7.
Yes. After that, family step up.
All downhill.
So-
How long ago was that, Suze?
For me or for Elisa?
For Elisa.
I don't know.
No one will ever know.
I'm not about to take a guess.
I thought that's what she
so-
was about to say. Like, that was a long time ago, huh?
No. Electric scooter, that was one of my favorite gifts. I got that in the basketball.
The same Christmas?
Mm-hmm. My
Wow.
mom gave me a basketball. My dad got me an electric scooter.
When I was a kid, I fell off a bike and had to go to the hospital because my brother and I were riding bikes and throwing a Frisbee back and forth at the same time.
How does this relate to
Hashtag boys.
Christmas?
Because I think it just, like, scooter plus basketball kind of equaled to me bike plus Frisbee.
Okay. Suze, what about, what's one
besides
of
your 2
yours?
pans.
A pan was your favorite gift. We're off the rails.
Yeah, I was just adding. I was contributing. That I
Yes.
also have been gifted kitchenware before.
She didn't want you to feel left out in the Cool Kids Club.
Yeah. Are you looking at me because you want to know my favorite gift?
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I'm a simple person. I love to read, and so every year I get books.
Favorite book?
I don't have one.
That's too much for her. One
Yeah,
question.
I can't
one
pick
question.
a favorite. I mean,
One
I have
question.
I have a very extensive book collection.
Okay.
I need another bookshelf. It's overflowing. So
Home Depot gift card.
anytime I can add to my
Pass her tan. Pass her tan.
anytime I can add to my book collection is a good day. So
Do you like actual books or like, and what I mean by that is, do you prefer to read it like digitally or do you prefer the actual book in your hand?
well, if my bookshelf is overflowing.
Okay, Susie, you just answer. You don't have to be.
I
the diva's coming out.
an actual
Well, if my
book.
bookcase doesn't have any room on it.
What do you think,
What do you think,
Elisa?
Elisa?
Okay.
Hopefully the camera caught that extreme eye roll.
I like physical books, to answer your question.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate
And I
that.
don't like audiobooks.
Do you agree with that, Eric?
Yeah, we've had
Not
this
her
conversation
stance.
before.
I'm trying to think of a better thing than a pan.
You never got like a jersey for Christmas or a toy or
I just can't think right now.
you know
my memory's gone.
the best gift that we can all get is a chance to go to the playoffs.
That's true.
So true.
Once that happens, because I believe in this team, then that'll be my answer for the rest of my life.
The best gift. Oh no, that sounds crazy. Never mind. Let's just wrap it.
Lordy, Lord. All right. Well, as we go off to the end of this episode, we do appreciate all of Broncos country listening to Altitude Advantage.
I got a
And
nice decanter last year. I'm gonna go with that. That's really nice glass.
I don't even know what that is.
Like for bourbon.
Oh,
Got my initials on it.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Simon Pierce, not a sponsor.
Well, okay, that's a nice gift.
Yeah.
So, you see, you get oranges for Christmas because you need oranges all the time for your bourbon.
Oh, I was like, what? I got it now.
Thank you. All right, well, let's close out this episode.
Can I get you a Team Store gift card?
You know what? I would actually appreciate that.
I know.
It's all fun and games until I come up with new merch. So yes, once again, Broncos country, we appreciate you guys listening to Altitude Advantage all season long. It's Christmas Eve as we are filming this podcast. So
Whoa.
Merry Christmas Eve to both of you.
Thank you.
And happy holidays to Broncos country. And we'll be back with another episode to preview the Week 17 matchup against
What?
No, you stare.
Keep going. We're fine.
You
Keep
know-
rolling. We'll be back. I'll finish it. We'll be back on Thursday to preview our Week 17 matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Until then, I am your lead writer, Aric DiLalla, with your host, Elisa Hernandez, and our digital media contributor, Susanna Ware. We will talk to you soon. But for now, that is Altitude Advantage.
Happy holidays.